Hey, welcome back to Big Shoulders. Today, man, I'm excited for this one. We have today on Big Shoulders maybe one of, I think, the most fun, the most warm, and one of the most interesting follows on Instagram, on YouTube. I think some of the best influencers, food influencers out of the city of Chicago. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome to Dino and Miss Coretta, the Black Foodies.
Aw, thank
I'm
you.
Welcome,
collecting
guys.
myself.
It's got me blushing over here.
No, you guys are great. I have been following you guys. I think probably for the better part of a year. I'm a Chicago guy, but I split my time between Chicago and LA because I'm one of those
Okay.
industry dudes. And one of the things that really keeps me going when I'm not in our lovely, beautiful, perfect city of Chicago are all of you great influencers. You guys in particular really stand out for me because not only do you rep our city beautifully, you guys really articulate what is so important about food. Because I was just watching your intro video on your YouTube channel, and you guys talk about how food is culture. And because food is
Yes,
culture, it brings us all together.
Yeah.
absolutely. And just to piggyback off what you just said, one thing that people all have in common, people love good food. It just brings people together, like you were just stating, and it brings a commonality between different cultures. And I love eating foods from different cultures as well as my own. So it's a good way to get an insight on people that may not look like you and come to a common ground.
Mhm.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. It's something that I feel like every city kind of has their unique mix. And I'm probably biased when I say this, but there's just something about, I don't know, the depth and breadth of what we have in Chicago. And, again, not to say that other cities don't have this, but I love the fact that I can walk out my door in Chicago. I can walk through three neighborhoods and eat anywhere between 5 to 20 different cuisines without getting in a car, sometimes not even getting on the L.
Or even a
Right.
plane. You don't have to go anywhere. You've got everything here in
Right.
Chicago.
And for as much as we eat in Chicago, we should walk as much as we can because whoo, there's so much and it's so good. But I wanted
Yeah.
to start kind of at the beginning with you guys. One, how long have you all been doing this, and what was the impetus to start doing what you all have been doing?
We've been doing this for about 8 years now. And what started it, we love to travel. We were actually in Miami looking for a restaurant, and it was like, goodness, okay, it's not that many resources out there because back then, Instagram wasn't hot and anything like that. So we came across a restaurant, Haitian called
Called
Tap
Tap
Tap.
Tap. It was over in South Beach.
Yeah, yeah. So we just figured, I'm like, okay, we need to get out here and really show and try to tell people where to go when they go out of town to eat. So that's how we just got started. Came back home and started documenting our findings. We started out on YouTube, and our videos used to be like 23 minutes long. So yeah,
Then
it
we
was
learned
just
people have short attention
yeah.
spans. That we wanted
No.
to shorten it a little bit.
Yeah, man, I'm learning that myself. I've done episodes of Big Shoulders. I also do a movie review show, and I have, unless it's a real popular movie, I can go for an hour and change. But if
Right.
it's lesser known, I don't get as many views, and so yeah, it's trying to learn that algorithm. And yet, there's people that do 3 hour videos and get millions of views. So
I'm
I
like,
don't know.
True.
I'm just talking
it's
about what
growing.
I love. This game is something else. I know my nieces and nephews, the young ones, they know how to do this stuff. I'm just doing what I can do. But that's great. I had no idea you guys had been doing it for this long. And I do love the fact that you guys do this probably better than anybody. And people are starting to get wise to it, but you guys showcase our beautiful South Side better, I think, than anybody. You guys, Dilla, the historian, he's doing great work with his
Absolutely.
oh, he's that guy. God bless him. And then, my good friends Dario and Sarah of the 77 Flavors of Chicago. I think that's how I discovered you guys, was through them. And I think the great thing about social media and what you guys illustrate all the time is there doesn't have to be this, oh, I'm a North Side, or I stay on the North Side, or I'm West Side, or I'm South. We can go all over the place. Our city has so much to offer, but I do think it's well past the time that we highlight the South Side, and again, you guys do that great. Is it on purpose that you guys are, again, then there's no reason not to showcase our South Side, but you guys do a lot of work down there. How do you feel about where our South Side fits within sort of the Chicago media, where it fits in with like the wider food palette of the city? I'm curious because there's so much it has down there.
There's a lot going on the South Side, and what I like about showcasing the South Side, and for the record, we do North Side, West Side, we do all over, but it is predominantly on the South Side. And one of those reasons is there's a lot of Black-owned restaurants on the South Side of Chicago.
Right.
And that has been some of the emphasis of our work, to showcase Black-owned restaurants, Black chefs. And the South Side is so unique is because it's almost like a hodgepodge of everything. You can get fine dining on the South Side. You can get what I love is Chicago street food on the South Side.
Yes,
that's something people need to learn all over the country. Is that Chicago has some of the best street food in America. So come on through to Chi-Town and get it on and check out our street food scene. But the South Side is unique, and for years the South Side has sort of drawn a short end of the straw. Right. And it's good to showcase people, and it gives these groups of individuals an incentive to do better. And I've learned over the years that South Side cuisine is the best side cuisine.
No, I love it. I love it. There's so many spots that I did not know about, not because I'm necessarily ignorant of the South Side, but we only have so much time in a day to it's like, okay, I think that's something too. Chicagoans, we tend to go to what we know. Like you said, we have some of the best street food in the world. I put us up against anybody. And so it's real easy, no matter what part of town you're in, if you're southwest or north, we all have our spots, and the beauty of what you guys do and what 77 Flavors does is it's like, no, really get out of your comfort zone and come southwest, come south, come west, and see what we have to offer. I know what your neighborhood has is great, but explore. And you guys are really, God, the variety of food that you guys go through. What are some things that you guys have learned? Dario and Sarah talk about how their palate has expanded over the time that they've done it. What are some foods, or are there particular cuisines, or even like local Chicago specialties that maybe you all didn't know about before you started doing this, that you've come to learn about it and love? Is there anything that like you were like, oh, I never would have tried that before this, and now it's like your favorite? Are there any examples there?
Can you think of anything? Because for the record, my wife and I, we have 5 children. So we were foodies before we started doing this on social media.
Okay.
So, and our children, they all have a very wide palette. And we've always had a penchant for exploring different cultures and different foods anyway.
All right.
So it would be hard to say that I discovered something that I really didn't know about. I'm not trying to sound like I'm a food snob and know-it-all.
No.
But what I would like to share with your audience is this. People tend to think that deep dish pizza is the pizza of Chicago when it's not.
Nope.
It's tavern style pizza.
That's right.
That's something that your listeners can discover. And we at home, while we eat deep dish pizza, we know that's tourist pizza.
Right.
And there's nothing like tavern style pizza. And in Chicago, we cut squares, not slices. It's not New York. Cut them in those squares, flat, crispy, toppings, and we just get it on. So for you guys out there listening, when you come to Chicago, if you want to get it on like a Chicagoan, seek out tavern style pizza.
Oh, amen. Thank you for that. That is probably, we've discussed that on this channel quite a bit. I did an entire episode just on the politics of pizza. And it annoys me when I'll talk to somebody from outside the city, and, even like my family in California, like my nieces and nephews that are traveling more now. And, I bring them into the city all the time. And, some of them, it's like, oh, are we getting deep dish? I'm like, well, at some point, at some point, we will, but we're going to have the real Chicago pizza, and they're always blown away. It's something that, no, I think it's a point of frustration that I share with you guys, that for whatever reason, we seem to be telling the world that this is something we eat all the time, when it's once in a while, every now and then, special occasion pizza. But 98 to 99% of the time, it is thin crust, like you said, cut into squares. It is Phil's Pizza, Pat's Pizza, Vito and Nick's. That's how we do in Chicago. And that actually leads me. I have what I call my arbitrary Chicago questions that I like to ask of every guest. And I should have started with these, but since you brought up pizza, we've addressed one of them. And so my 3 questions are this: Cubs or Sox?
Sox, unfortunately.
Right. Absolutely. And you already answered. You choose between tavern and deep dish. It's
tavern.
Beautiful. Now the last one, the last arbitrary Chicago question: Coke or Pepsi?
Water.
Oh, all right. No, I mean, I guess it is better, right?
Well, I guess Dasani is a Pepsi product, so I'll say Pepsi.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm a Diet Coke addict. I try to limit myself to 1 a day, but man, that's so good. But no, that's interesting. Yeah, because y'all are Southsiders, so of course you're going to be with the right team, the Sox. But great. In terms of, I guess, I think it's cool that you guys, you talk about how you were foodies, long before you started this adventure. Is that something that is just in your families? Were your parents just very adventurous with food? Where did your penchant for exploring food and the fact that you share with your kids about it? It's something that I get annoyed. You guys would probably feel this. I don't know. You might feel this way when you meet people whose palate just seems to be chicken nuggets, and like I'm sure there's really great chicken nuggets somewhere by somebody, but there's no sort of sense of adventure in their food. You said you guys have always kind of been like this. Are your families like this? Is it something that you all have? It's just in your personalities. Where did your sense of adventure with food come from?
I think when we were traveling, we were trying different food. Yeah, but for my family, it was more soul food. They're not adventurous at all. So I think our taste, our palates came from the travels that we've done.
Well, I'll say this as well. My mother is an excellent cook, but she is not going to get out of her at all. But my father, I believe, is the one that got me a little bit adventurous when it comes to food. And I'll tell you a quick story. Years ago, my dad and I, we were walking through Kickapoo Woods. It's the Forest Preserve right around Harvey, Illinois. We ran across some turtle eggs. Saw a turtle, picked them up, the turtle. My dad picked up these turtle eggs. We took them home, and he cooked them. And I'm telling you, this was some of the nastiest crap you ever had in your life.
Oh,
I was like, at how bad it was. And then my father, in his infinite wisdom, decided to go to my grandmother and told her he made her some eggs. This was his mother-in-law, my mother's mother.
Ooh.
And cooked these turtle eggs for her. And my grandmother took one bite of them and cussed him out. She was so mad because they look like regular chicken eggs.
Right.
But I said all that to say this. I think my father is the one that got me a little bit more adventurous when it comes to food. And he was also an excellent cook. And he was always doing things in the kitchen that weren't the norm.
All right. Go dad. Your mother, who, like you said, is a great cook, but doesn't leave her comfort zone. That's my dad. Like, there's things that he makes and that's what he makes. And you're not going to get him to ever try sushi. You're not going to get him to try, you know,
no.
jollof rice from West Africa, like all this stuff that I love. If he doesn't already know what it is, he ain't eating it. But here's the thing. At the same time, you know, it's the stuff that he makes are things that, you know, I love, that my family loves. What are things in your family that are like staple dishes that you guys return to all the time, that you think that, yeah, okay, maybe folks that aren't familiar with soul food, what are, and it doesn't have to be soul food, it can be anything, but what are some things, staples in your family lineage, in your home and your parents' home, that you just can't live without? I love to learn this about people, what they return to.
I'll say this. I believe, strike believe. I know that I make the best jerk chicken ever.
Okay.
I know I do. And I've been cooking jerk chicken close to 30 years now. I learned a long time ago, before jerk chicken ever became really popular in Chicago. There was a gentleman named Jay. He owned a Caribbean restaurant called Island Delights. It was right across the street from Kenwood Academy in Hyde Park.
Okay.
And my friend introduced me to him. He said, "You have to try this jerk chicken." I said, "What's jerk chicken?" He says, "It's Jamaican chicken. Just come check it out." And I tasted it and I fell in love with it. And I begged for the recipe for months. And I caught him drinking one too many red stripes one night, and he gave me the recipe, and I put my own spin on it.
All right.
I have to say, I make the best jerk chicken in America.
Oh, nice. Nice. Now, I love jerk chicken. I discovered jerk chicken in college when I was at University of Illinois at Chicago, you know, and I got to, you know, before then I hadn't had a lot of exposure to Jamaican people, and just fell in love with Jamaican food and Caribbean food in general. When you serve your jerk chicken, do you pair it with anything in particular? Like, are you a rice guy? Are you a plantains guy? How do you like to serve your jerk chicken? Because I know I'm not going to ask you for your recipe. That's your secret, man. But
go to our YouTube channel. I gave you.
What's that?
I said you can go to our YouTube channel and look under recipes. I gave the recipe away.
Oh,
it's
nice.
called Drunken Jerk Chicken. So you can duplicate it.
Beautiful. All right. All right. Is there anything in particular that you like to pair it with? Are you that kind of a guy?
Yes. And also, not patting myself on the back, but I also make the best red beans and rice ever.
Okay, now you're talking my language.
Yeah, so it's a Jamaican, and it's not like peas and rice like the Jamaicans do. This is like an authentic Cajun red beans and rice.
Yes,
and it's amazing. It's really good.
And don't forget the plantains.
And my wife does the plantains.
Okay, yes, no, I gotta have me some plantains, absolutely. And yeah, red beans and rice. For almost 10 years, I worked for a culinary school in Chicago, Kendall College. And in that time, you know, I mean, obviously growing up in Chicago, you get exposed to so many great foods and great cuisines. But working at Kendall was an education in and of itself. And I got so much exposure. I got to talk to, you know, chefs all the time. And we had some amazing French.
Do you make red beans and rice? Do you make red beans and rice? I
personally have not made it, but I have family that do. And a family that do. And I have a recipe. I should probably do. I got a recipe from Cajun Creole chef that was at Kendall at a time, and man, it was so good. I think I'm a little intimidated. I don't know if I can ever make it as good as this dude made it, but you know, I can try. But it is one of my favorite things. Like, I don't even need a protein with it. I know I should have a protein with it, but I can eat too much of that.
If you go to our YouTube channel on recipes, under recipes, I also gave that recipe up as well. My wife about kicked me when I did it. She was like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, no, I am going to be going down the rabbit hole on your page here. I got best empanadas. Okay, jerk chicken. Okay, yeah. No, this is. Oh man, I'm going to be busy now. This is going to be great. It's going to be great. another question, and I know it's probably like choosing between your children, and nobody can do that. But what are some places? And again, I know you're not picking favorites one over the other, but what are some places that you all maybe went as kids, as young people, just that you kind of return to? Are there staple restaurants in Chicago that just have just the old standards that you return to? Obviously, you guys are always trying new places, and you're giving shouting out new places. But are there old standards and standbys that have sort of stood the test of time that you guys return to?
Well, I would say, unfortunately, when I was a child, a lot of those restaurants really aren't around.
Right.
A lot of restaurants, over time, they're family run, and they kind of have a shelf life to them.
Sure.
But if I was to pick one place, I would probably say Gino's Pizza in Phoenix, Illinois, tavern style.
Okay.
And they're right on Halsted. And that because my grandmother lived, my mother's family came from Phoenix, Illinois.
Okay.
And we used to always go to my grandmother's house, and she would always buy us Gino's Pizza, some of the best tavern. I keep talking about tavern style pizza. You want to get a piece?
No.
Right.
Hey, dude, no problem. And you said Gino's in Phoenix. I feel like I don't know if I know this place. Let me see. Gino's Pizza, Chicago.
Phoenix, Illinois.
And that said Phoenix. Yeah, this one keeps giving me that other one that I don't like. Let me see here.
About Gino's East.
Yeah, I don't know why it's trying to give me Gino's. Gino's. And it's Phoenix, like Phoenix, Arizona, right?
Correct. Right out the south suburb of Chicago.
Phoenix, Illinois. Come on. Damn, it will not give me this place. Well, I'll find it.
So long.
Yeah, the brother, right, works at Mickey's over in.
And the guy that that trained.
Mickey's, I know.
Yeah.
Dreams Pizza.
Dreams Pizza. Yeah, sorry.
The gentleman that
Dreams, right?
His brother. Yeah, the guy that owns Dreams, his brother was trained at Gino's.
Right.
That's why the pizza is so good. It's just like Gino's.
Nice. Okay, and that's the one at in Calumet Park, right?
Yep, Calumet Park, and there's a second location in Markham, Illinois.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I saw that recent video you guys did. I'm like, I'm definitely checking that place out. It's that's something too. Like I've noticed. I don't know if it's just because we as everyday Chicagoans now have access to social media and we can shout these places out more. I know that's part of it, but it feels like citywide there is a kind of, I don't want to say revival because it never went away, but there's like this celebration of tavern style pizza. I went to a place when my nieces and nephews were in the city back in September. We found, and half my family's Filipino. And so I found out there was a place in Pilsen that it's Filipino Mexican owned tavern style pizza joint called Novel Pizza Cafe. So they do pizza and coffee. It's like they knew I was coming. And we get there and they do, you can do your traditional, tavern style pizza, sausage, pepperoni, whatever, but they also do like longanisa and giardiniera, longanisa being the Filipino sausage. And I'm kind of seeing people throughout the city sort of taking these Chicago classics and putting their own spin on it. Like you put your own spin on jerk chicken. And I love how our cultures mix in the city, that you can take something like, tavern style pizza that started at Italian taverns like 100 years ago. And now you got these Filipino kids doing their own spin on it. Just all of these, the mix, and new generations adopting, what came before and then doing their own thing.
Absolutely. Well, pizza crust is a blank canvas. You can put whatever you want on it. You have the basics. And you say you're half Filipino?
My family is. I missed that train, but the rest of them got lucky. So, but I mean, Filipino culture is, I'm white on the outside, I'm brown on the inside. Like I can cook Filipino, I can speak a bit of Tagalog. It's been in my family.
Have
What's
you heard
that?
of Buy and Co? Buy and Co.
Bianco, yes,
BAYA.
I know Bianco. They're really good. I like them a lot.
Excellent. Yes, I love the Filipino food.
Yeah, Bianco is good. Obviously, Kasama has been at the top of all of the lists lately. They're in Ukrainian Village. There's a
Okay.
place that I had been going to for years. It's now starting to get a really great, finally some press. Uncle Mike's place. It's on the west side.
Never,
What's that?
say never heard of them. Uncle Mike's
Yeah,
place.
Uncle Mike. They've been around for I think over 20 years, maybe longer. But it's specifically a Filipino breakfast joint, and it's for people who haven't had Filipino breakfast, you better learn because it's so good. It's eggs and sausage, but but it's their sausage. You get garlic rice with it. You get that that little vinegar to put on everything. They start you with lugao. Lugao is like a sort of chicken and rice soup or porridge, and then they end every meal with something called champurrado. Champurrado is sort of like a chocolate porridge, so you've got that sweet finish at the end. So Uncle Mike's place, highly recommend. Yeah, I learned all of my cooking and Filipino cooking from the titas in my family, these women in their 70s and 80s, and yeah, there's nothing like home cooking, but there's great places out there. I'm sorry, please go ahead.
Well, we're heading to the west side when we leave you, so we're gonna have to slide by Uncle Mike's place.
Oh, please do. Yeah, Uncle Mike's is the price point I feel is more in line with what most Chicagoans, what we expect. Uh, Kasama, I think, is also a place worth hitting in Ukrainian Village. They are actually the only Michelin star rated Filipino restaurant in the world. Like, not even in the Philippines do they have this. And they do have a higher price point sort of tasting dinner menu, but most of us just go there for their breakfast. They do really great pastries. They do their own spin on the Italian beef. They do it with shredded pork and sausage. We do our Italian beef with the Italian sausage in the middle. They do their shredded pork with a Filipino sausage in the middle. It's out of sight. It's amazing. But Uncle Mike's it's literally like going to your Filipino friend's house. And it looks like it's nothing fancy, but the fact that it ain't fancy is what makes it so real and so good. It feels like you're in somebody's kitchen. So, highly rated from me there. But
Hey, let's go.
All right.
yeah. But enough about that. In terms of the things that you guys do, and I know you guys travel out obviously outside of Chicago, but we're a Chicago-based show or Chicago-oriented show. What are some things that maybe our outside of Chicago viewers should know about the work that you guys do, about the beautiful food and culture of the South Side? What are some things? And we took care of one, that tavern style is our real pizza. What are some other things that people should know about the Chicago food scene or Chicago in general? Because the media says certain things. They talk about our deep dish pizza. We know better. What are some things people should know in your view?
Let me share this. Recently, we had the opportunity to partner with Choose Chicago, which is the tourism branch of the city of Chicago.
Yes.
And they asked us we do a bus tour where we go around Chicago showcasing restaurants, and we have a good time on the bus, and they caught wind of it. And we were able to host a group of people from the UK.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, about 15, 16 people flew in, and we took them on the South Side. They wanted us to take them on the South Side because usually when people come to town from out of town, people tend to stay downtown, which is a more touristy part of part of the city. So we took them to the South Side. We took them in Bronzeville, and we took them over to Hyde Park.
All right.
And we gave them a little bit of the history of the South Side. We talked about how Bronzeville is a portion of the South Side where the Great Migration occurred.
Yes.
African Americans came up from the South and migrated to Bronzeville. And we showed them the Chicago homes of Ida B. Wells. We showed them the Chicago homes of Louis Armstrong. We showed them the Chicago homes of who else? Muhammad Ali.
Yes.
And we also showed them the Hyde Park, Chicago residence of number 44, President Barack Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama.
All right.
And they really enjoyed seeing how much culture and how rich the history was on the South Side.
And how beautiful it is.
And how beautiful the South Side is. And I say all of that to say this. Don't believe the hype when they talk about how dangerous Chicago is, but specifically the South and West Sides. It's like going where in the world. Use some common sense and keep your head on a swivel, because if I go outside of the country and I'm going into an area that I'm not familiar with, I have my spidey senses tingling. So, you know, just be aware of what's going on and enjoy the whole city. But don't go over by Old Block. Don't go by Old Block.
Right. No, amen, man. That's something that's another thing I'm always saying, you know, on this channel is, you know, to hell with what you heard. Talk to a real Chicago person about our city. And I guarantee you, we are going to over-deliver on culture, on food, on music, on museums, on just sheer beauty of neighborhoods and people. And again, this is another reason why I love watching you guys. And I'm so glad that I've had you on, because this is the real Chicago. It, you know, we feel historically have been one of the most demonized cities in the world. And every time I have had the opportunity to personally bring people into the city and explore every side of the city, everyone has been, this is nothing like what they've been telling me. I'm like, exactly. You know, don't go by what you heard. Talk to somebody who's really from the city. I'm learning so much. Like, obviously I knew you guys were on Instagram. Now I found your YouTube channel. I'm going down that wormhole as soon as we're done here today. And now I don't know how I missed that you guys do tours, because I'm bringing my family on the next one you guys do, because that's fantastic. I love the fact that you guys pulled in a group, an international group, and you got to show them our South Side. That is fantastic.
A big shout out to Choose Chicago for commissioning us to do that. It was greatly appreciated. And it was a real good learning experience as well, to be able to cater to someone outside of the country. So we were able to see how we do what we do and apply it to other people, to other cultures. And it worked out really well. It really did.
No, that's beautiful. No, I follow Choose Chicago, and they do really great work. And I'm glad that they're working with local folks, because that's what it's about. And to your point, yeah, I mean, downtown is beautiful. Downtown has lots of stuff. But as those of us that know, Chicago is a city of neighborhoods. And if you are not getting on that train and going south, going west, going north, and getting into, you can literally hop off at almost any stop on any line, and you're going to have a pizza joint, a burger joint, a cool dive bar, a great cafe. Like, I tell people that, and they don't believe me until they come here. It's just like, there's like a snack every 10 feet in this town. You all have set it up right. And we have. And so that's beautiful. So
absolutely. And I just want to state this as well for your listening audience. Chicago is the best foodie city in America, my opinion, and I may be biased. And it's also the best summertime city in America as well. So I implore everybody, make sure you come through Chicago. You have beaches, you have Lake Michigan, which is part of the Great Lakes. And that whole body of water of the 5 Great Lakes is one of the largest bodies of fresh water in the world. So we have a little sea basically right in the middle of the country. Come explore the beaches, come explore our downtown, and make sure you hit the museum campus. You'll have one of the most beautiful, amazing sights of the skyline. I believe the best in the city.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right on every point. I think the best skyline in the world. We have tremendous, beautiful beaches. It's funny you bring up the beaches, because I remember the first time I brought my niece into the city, and we're flying in. You know how you kind of come around over the lake, and she's looking out, and she's like, "Are we near an ocean?" I'm like, "Sweetheart, no, that is a lake." She's like, "That can't be a lake," because she's used to Northern California. She's used to, like, you know, lakes. I'm like, "Well, that is a Great Lake." She's like, that's Lake Michigan? I'm like, yes, sweetheart. And we had a great time, you know, but they were blown away. Some of my Cali family, you know, I was like, you aren't all the only ones that got beaches. We got beaches in Chicago too. So it was a pleasant surprise for them. But that's the thing is, again, to your points, you know, when people give us a chance, we over deliver every time. Food, sights, sounds. And the museums, like I every time we're there, it's like, okay, they want to go back to the Art Institute of Chicago. They want to go back to Science and Industry. We go to the DuSable Museum. It's just the depth and breadth of the culture in our city. Again, I put it also against anybody in the world. But yeah, man, good stuff. Well,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. I was just going to say, in terms of maybe, you know, closing statements or in terms of what you guys do you guys have any projects coming up? Where can people find you, follow you, support you online?
They can follow us on Instagram, of course, at the Black Foodies, TikTok, at the Black Foodies 1, the number 1. YouTube, we're on Facebook. Our website is www.theblackfoodies.com, where we have a directory of restaurants and a couple of videos out there as well of our featured restaurants of the month. Yeah, anything else you can think of?
Just come hang out with us, guys.
Yeah, follow us. And
eat vicariously through us.
Oh, yes.
We do this just for you. Yeah. It's a rough job, but somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to eat pizza.
Right.
And somebody has to eat all this street food. So, you know, let me pick up the wheel.
We wouldn't want to be rude. Have something to eat. I mean, come on. And in terms of, I guess we'll wrap it up here. In terms of your tours, how often are your tours, and so on? Like, if somebody wanted to do one of your tours, how would we do that?
Okay, so our last tour is actually tomorrow. Yeah, for the year.
Okay.
We're going to start back in April. So anyone that's interested, just email us at theblackfoodies@gmail.com and ask to be placed on the spring wait list.
Okay.
And we'll make sure.
I got a wait list.
Yeah. So email us and just let us know. You know, we'll make sure we let you know the dates of our upcoming tour in April. But we'll do them like maybe twice a month from April to November.
Yeah, due to inclement weather, we stop.
Yeah.
Because we don't want any slip, trips, or falls in the wintertime.
Yeah.
Like I said, Chicago's the best summertime city in the world. Don't come in January or February.
December.
And it's so funny. No, it's that's what separates the women from the girls, the men from the boys, is Chicago winter. My nieces and nephews, my family in Cali, they're always like, "How is it so inexpensive?" I'm like, "Well, it's called winter. That keeps prices down. That's why New York and LA are what they are, and Chicago is affordable." So,
absolutely.
But thank you guys so much for coming on. You all are great. I love the work you're doing. I'm going to go down the rabbit hole here on your recipes on your YouTube page. I'll keep shouting you guys out. Again, thank you for doing what you're doing, for showing all of these folks around us the real Chicago, and keep up the great work. Thank you.
Thank you for having us. We really appreciate you, and you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Yeah,
you too. And ladies and gentlemen, Dino and Coretta, the Black Foodies. Let's hear it for them. All right, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.
All right.
For sure. You have a great day.
You too.